Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos and some current transfer rumours guys to give you a current update on, but lots to talk about. But the first topic of development I'm going to give you an update on is in regards to Niclos Pepe from Lille. Now, according to the journalist Duncan Castles, he's basically come out and said that Manchester United and Liverpool have expressed their interest in Niclos Pepe. It does reportedly say that Liverpool have opened up negotiations with Lille to try and sign Niclos Pepe. It also said that Manchester United have opened up negotiations as well, to currently try and get the player's signature. So Niclos Pepe is going to be definitely leaving Lille this summer. It's looking very imminent indeed, because obviously as it came out a couple of weeks ago, the Lille chairman came out and said that Niclos Pepe is going to be leaving Lille this summer. So that is very good news indeed. I think quite a few teams have attracted their interest in the player recently. Manchester United and Liverpool have been linked to him. I think Arsenal have been linked to him in the last couple of months, and also a host of other clubs have been linked with the player. I think throughout the course of this season, last season now should I say, he had scored 22 goals and provided 11 assists, so he can score goals, he can provide Niclos Pepe, and he's the obvious candidate for the right wing, for Manchester United, is Niclos Pepe, because he's primarily a winner, and I do believe if he came to the Premier League, he would have that hunger, he would have that desire, and of course he would take his career to the next level. But actually, Liverpool could be among the favourites, to currently get the players' signature. Obviously, Liverpool having a good season. Obviously, Liverpool can offer him Champions League football for next season, as obviously, Manchester United can't offer him, Champions League football. So I think he's initially, rated at around £70 million, is Niclos Pepe, and this is obviously, the quoted fee that Lille would want if they're willing to let him go. Of course, I think it came out, was it a week or two ago, if I'm right, that Manchester United would eyeing a move for around £40 million, but I don't believe this figure would be enough, to convince Lille to let him go. So I believe that they want around £70 million. I think Lille got him from Angus, back in 2017, so I think he has spent a couple of seasons with Lille now, but he has become an integral part of their team. I think he has got a contract with them until 2022, but he has done really well indeed. And obviously that win area is one of the areas, where Manchester United are lacking, of course, and we definitely need a right win. And I think if he came to Manchester United, he would blend in our attacking line very well. He'd been into them goals that we do currently need. But so far he has actually spent the entirety of his career in France, of course, and so he has spent the entirety of his career in France. He's only very young, so he will obviously fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recommend young players to come in. I think Niclos Pepe just actually turned 24 years of age, so there is a lot of rumours going on about him, but he's definitely going to be leaving. But it still remains uncertain where he will be applying his trade next season. But Duncan Castles has come out and revealed that Manchester United and Liverpool have both been in negotiations to currently get a deal over the line for Niclos Pepe. So yeah, I'd definitely take him at Manchester United. So that is the latest news to update you on that. As I updated you in my previous video, about Matthias de Ligt, we do know he has been widely spoken about, throughout the course of this window so far, because he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. So I think Matthias de Ligt is set to tell Manchester United about a transfer decision in the next couple of days. So we are going to know what's going on with Matthias de Ligt in the next couple of days, because he's expected, to tell Manchester United. He has admitted as Matthias de Ligt, he has had several options on the table for him, but I think he's excited about his future, because obviously it's looking very imminent that he is going to be leaving Ajax, but it still remains uncertain at the moment where he will be applying his trade next season. So we do know it's been looking likely that Barcelona, for the last couple of months, Barcelona have been in the ascendancy to get a deal over the line for Matthias de Ligt. Some reports still speculated out saying that de Ligt to Barcelona is actually not a done deal. The transfer is a done deal. Obviously, it said the fee and that had been agreed, but obviously they couldn't come to an agreement on the terms. And this is the main factor reason why talks between Matthias de Ligt and Barcelona had currently stalled, because Barcelona are not willing to meet what de Ligt's demanding. What his agent Raiola of course is demanding. But he did reportedly say that talks had stopped. But news has been circulating around the media in the last couple of days at least. Saying that we are actually amongst the favourites to currently get a deal over the line for Matthias de Ligt. So obviously, in terms of transfer fees, it's going to cost you around 65 or 70 million pounds, is de Ligt. And he did initially say Manchester United had put a 70 million pound bid in for him. But like I said again, one of the priority that central defensive area is one of the priority areas, of course, where Manchester United do need to strengthen up. And I do believe that we need two central defenders. Obviously, we've got a lot of central defenders on our agenda. There's a lot of players on our agenda in total. But obviously, going back last summer, our priority, was to recommend a centre back to come in. But obviously, we didn't succeed in that, because obviously obviously the board weren't back in the signings that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend to come in last summer. So we've definitely, got to get a centre back in this summer transfer window, and I think Matthias de Ligt, would be the right solution. But as he did actually, come out, last week, saying he was set to join Barcelona. I think from his own perspective, I think Matthias de Ligt, was destined to join Barcelona, because I think he just basically wanted to make the move, because obviously his current teammate Frankie de Jong is going to Barcelona, so maybe he wanted to reunite with his current teammate. But we do know, obviously, Liverpool have inquired about his services. Obviously, Manchester City have been in there for him. City are obviously looking for the replacement for Vincent Kompany. It also said that PSG have been in for him. I think Bayern Munich have showed their interest, so there's been a hell of a lot of clubs, chasing Matthias de Ligt. But Matthias de Ligt, if he comes to the Premier League, he will take his career to the next level, because obviously at some point in his career anyway, even if he doesn't leave Ajax, obviously if next season, if he's still at Ajax, obviously at some point in his career, he wants to take his career to the next level. But he has done really, really well with Ajax, he has spent, the entirety of his career there so far, progressed up the ranks with them, being an Ajax player since age of 8, the age of 9, but he has been in Ajax's senior squad now for 3 years as Matthias de Ligt. I think he made his senior debut with the age of 16, or was it actually at the age of 17? It was either 16 or 17, and I think he's gone on to make about 117 appearances, for Ajax, and he has become an integral part of their team. But it is looking very, very imminent, that he's going to be leaving. But yeah, only 19 years of age, still got a hell of a lot of development in him. But, Ajax have had a really, really good season. They've had a really, really good season, winning the domestic double, of course, getting to the Champions League semi-final. So they've had a really, really good season. It also, this could play a part in, Matthias de Ligt, coming to Manchester United. When it came out a couple of days ago, or was it yesterday, in fact, that Matthias de Ligt had come up with 2 transfer demands, deciding on his next club. And it did reportedly say his 2 demands, obviously, were requiring more money and guaranteed first team football. And obviously, these are 2 demands that Manchester United, can definitely meet. Because if he came to Manchester United, he would be assured first team football. And obviously, we're willing to meet, what he's demanding, what his agent Raiola is demanding. The only thing we couldn't offer, Matthias de Ligt, is Champions League football. But like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said, he still believes we can attract players to the elite level, even though we're not in Champions League football. But these are 2 demands that Barcelona cannot meet, because obviously Barcelona are not willing to, Barcelona are not willing to increase their offer, and they're not willing to meet what his agent Raiola is demanding. So reportedly did say Man United are willing to offer him a contract, worth up to £350,000 a week. That is an absolute extortionate amount, especially, for only a 19-year-old. But I think this contract offer could, this could persuade, Matthias de Ligt to make the move to Manchester United, because maybe Matthias de Ligt does believe this is a contract that is too good to currently turn down. It did come out the other week. I think it did say that Matthias de Ligt had told his agent Raiola that he's willing to accept Manchester United's contract offer. So £350,000 a week, that actually equates to almost £17 million a year. So if this was actually to process, this would make Matthias de Ligt the highest paid player, one of the highest paid players at Manchester United, the highest paid teenager in world football. But yeah, I'd love him at Manchester United, and I think there's a lot of credibility about these stories about Matthias de Ligt. Of course, it came out, was it 4 or 5 days ago, saying that Manchester United were very close to signing him. This obviously came from from Gerard Romero, who's a very, very reliable Spanish journalist, and that's when I started to believe there was some credibility in these stories about Matthias de Ligt. But it's almost certain, or should I say it is certain, that he's going to be leaving Ajax. So we are going to know in the next couple of days what's happening with Matthias de Ligt, because he's set to inform Manchester United about a decision over, of course, a transfer. But yeah, there has been a number of clubs that have been in there for him. But I'd love him, because I think he'd blend in very, very well alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. I think Matthias de Ligt is also the only defender, to win the Golden Boy Award. I think he won this last year, but he obviously became more of a first-team starter in Ajax's squad. He became more of a first-team starter in Ajax's squad when Davinson Sanchez, left Tottenham back in 2017. So I do believe now we've actually identified him as our number 1 target. So I'd love us, to get a deal over the line for him. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is working on getting the right players to Manchester United this summer, who he thinks, are good enough to, to represent Manchester United. And he's trying to get, the right players who've got the ability to, to elevate this club at least in the next 2 to 3 years. And I definitely, believe that Matthias de Ligt, would be the right solution. Also, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is working on keeping his imperative players in the club, obviously, as well. We are getting a spending spree of £250 million. So like I said, that should be enough to get us around 5 players, because I do believe we need at least 5 players to the club. Obviously, Daniel James is set to be announced this week, so obviously obviously, he's going to be our first signing. But you can see the deficiencies in the squad. You can see the areas where Manchester United are lacking. But we've got to be right with our recruitment this summer, because analysing our recruitment policy is very, very poor. And, we didn't do it. We didn't sign anyone in January as I thought we should have done. We didn't get as number one targets last summer. I do know a lot of money has been spent at the club over the years, but, we haven't been consistent enough in the transfer windows, in the last 2 or 3 or whatever. We haven't been consistent enough, of course. But, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring young players to the club. Like he says, he thinks we can still attract players to elite level. So he's not intending on bringing any short-term players to the club. So yeah, I think Matthias de Ligt, would be absolutely fantastic for Manchester United. We have got good news, as he updated you on my previous video, about Bruno Fernandes. Now, reportedly, Manchester United do want to conclude a deal before the end of next week for Bruno Fernandes. I think it's an initial fee of between 62 or is it 70 million pounds, because this is what Manchester United are willing to offer in the region for Bruno Fernandes. Now, according to Ebola, the Portuguese press, they are saying Manchester United now are in the sending to get the current player's signature. But we do know Manchester United and Manchester City are obviously the two teams that have been battling it out for Bruno Fernandes. Now, initially it did say, was it the other week that Manchester City were merged as the front runners to currently get the player's signature. Obviously, Man United have been linked to him at least for the last couple of months. He's been on Manchester City's agenda now for quite some time. But I think Bruno Fernandes did basically come out with an admission, and he basically about his future and all that. And he did say he said he's unsure about his future. He said he's had a good couple of years with Sporting Lisbon. He doesn't know if he'll be remaining there next season. So basically, what he's saying is he doesn't know if he's going to be leaving Sporting Lisbon. But he has refused to rule out a move to the Premier League. But like I said, I think if he came to the Premier League, he'd have all the capabilities and all the attributes to succeed. I think he'd also exceed expectation levels in the Premier League. So I'd love Bruno Fernandes, to come to Manchester United. Only 24 years of age, got a hell of a lot of development in him. I think it did say City have already put a bid in for Bruno Fernandes. I think City want to get a deal. I think City want to get him in a deal worth around £47 million. But obviously, City, it did say we're willing to offer 1 or 2 of their players as part of the deal. But reportedly, Manchester United are willing to offer him up to around £70 million. So I think we want this deal finalised by the end of next week. It does say in the Metro and all that. And and I really, really like him. I think if Paul Pogba is to go, obviously, Bruno Fernandes would be the good adequate replacement for him. But Bruno Fernandes would dramatically improve us in that midfield. He's got goals in him, he's got assists in him, and I like him a lot, Bruno Fernandes. And like I said, he had a lot of experience playing in Italy, when he was younger, with the likes of San Pandora and underneath. But his initial release clause is around £86 million, is Bruno Fernandes is. But obviously, Man United and Manchester City are reluctant to currently trigger his release clause. So it could be looking like now Bruno Fernandes could be applying his trade in the Premier League next season. Obviously, a player Bruno Fernandes' calibre, the more attractive option for him, would be Manchester City, because obviously at the moment Manchester City is strides ahead of us. Obviously, they're a competitive elite level football club. Obviously, they're winning trophies and all that. And obviously, they're dominating in England for the moment. So the more attractive option for him, would be Manchester City. But I know my club, Manchester United, at the moment are a toxic club, and there's problems at the club, as you all know. But we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. Like I said, we're the best team in English football. Historically, we've had obviously the most success over the years, and we still got a really, really good fan base, of course. So Bruno Fernandes, we're definitely still in for him. But it's now saying Manchester United are the current favourites. I think it came out, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago, saying that City had initially, opted out of the race for Bruno Fernandes. So from that point, that gives Manchester United, of course, the advantage. But yeah, I'll definitely take him at Manchester United. I think he'd blend in very, very well in our midfield. So we want to get this deal finalised by the end of next week, as it does currently. So basically, we want to get this deal finalised within 7 days. So that is very, very good news. As I've been updating you about Adrian Rabiot from PSG, I don't know if I would take up Manchester United, because I don't even know really much about him, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, as report, a lot of Spanish outlets, were basically saying, it's according to Monday Deportivo, however you pronounce it, they've basically said that Manchester United are the favourites to currently get Adrian Rabiot's signature. So reportedly he's set to turn down Real Betis. It's also said that Arsenal have inquired about his services. Obviously, Umar may be keen on reuniting with Umar, because I think, to be quite fair, Umrai may be keen on reuniting with Adrian Rabiot, but to be fair, I think Adrian Rabiot, flourished under Unai Emery's guidance when Unai Emery was PSG manager. So it says Arsenal have inquired. I think they've inquired about his services, quite a few times, but it's now saying that Manchester United are in pole position to get him. Obviously, we wouldn't have to pay any transfer fee for Adrian Rabiot because obviously, he's a free agent this summer. Obviously, he's coming to an end of his contract with PSG. It did basically say that Manchester United are willing to meet his salary demands. It has basically said, we've offered him a lucrative contract. I think this contract could be worth in the region of £170,000 a week. I think there's also a signing-on fee included. I think the signing-on fee is around £10 million. But it reportedly says that Manchester United are willing to meet the salary demands, and we're also willing to meet that signing-on fee. Adrian Rabiot, of course, has not played for PSG since December, as you all know. Obviously, he got withdrawn from the PSG squad last year. Obviously, based on his refusal to sign a new contract. But he has spent the majority of his career with PSG. I think he made his senior debut for PSG in 2012. I think he's been a long-serving player at PSG. He has been there about 8 years, I think, as Adrian Rabiot. So he spent the majority of his career there. Obviously, he's won 18 major honours, including 5 League One titles. Also, I think he did have experience playing in Manchester because obviously, he was at Manchester City when he was younger. He was at Manchester City when he was younger, was Adrian Rabiot. So there has been talks about him, going on. So could Manchester United get him? Would you want him at Manchester United? He's a central midfielder, so obviously, we would see him as a replacement for Fernando Herrera. But he has still got a lot of development in him. I think, was it early on this month or last month, Manchester United had inquired about him and Solskjaer was weighing up a move for Adrian Rabiot. So do you think it'd be good for Manchester United if he was to come in? It will be beneficial because obviously he's available on a free transfer. So yeah, a lot of talks going on about him. Obviously, Real Betis inquired about him because it could be possible that Giovanni Lo Celso could be leaving Real Betis and going to probably Tottenham maybe, because I think Tottenham have inquired about getting him. It did say Tottenham had put a bid in for him of around £53 million. So that's the latest news about Adrian Rabiot. So obviously there's a lot of midfielders on Manchester United's agenda. Obviously Benfica's Joe Felix. It's obviously Manchester United and Manchester City that are battling out for Joe Felix from Benfica. Now I really like Joe Felix a lot. Now I think Benfica blatantly made clear that reportedly if they are willing to sell Joe Felix, they're demanding that his release clause currently has to be triggered, and obviously his buyout clause is from between £100 and £105 million, of course. So I think Manchester United and Manchester City are willing to trigger his buyout clause. Obviously, I really like Joe Felix. He's only 19 years of age, so got a hell of a lot of years ahead of him, of course, and he's the upcoming future. And I do believe that Joe Felix, can emulate into one of the best players in the world. So Manchester United, I think I've been scouting him for a long time now. I think we've been scouting him since the beginning of the year. Obviously, he's been on Manchester City's agenda, for quite some time. He's been fantastic in his this season with Benfica. And it's only been his first season in the senior squad. Obviously has not yet made his senior debut for Portugal. I think also Liverpool had a bid turned down for him back in January. I think Real Madrid have also expressed their interest. So I'm not sure about Joe Felix. I think he's still uncertain about his future. But if he came to the Premier League, I think he'd exceed expectation levels, and I think he would take his career to the next level. So obviously it's going to cost you around £105 million because that's obviously his buyout clause, and Benfica have said that does need to be triggered if Joe Felix of course is to be sold. But yeah, 19 years of age, and I really like him indeed. He's primarily an attacking midfielder. He can also play as a winner, a striker, and a secondary striker. So he's very versatile indeed. So if he came to the Premier League, he'd have that hunger, he'd have that desire, he'd exceed very well in the Premier League, and he'd take his footballing career to the next level. So whether Joe Felix leaves or not, I do not know. But Manchester United have been in talks with Benfica over the potential move. But it is United and City that are battling it out for Felix. And as he updated you the other day about Antoine Griezmann from Atletico Madrid. Now, as I did clearly say, I wouldn't want us to spend over £100 million on Antoine Griezmann. Like I said, I'd rather fork that £100 million on Joe Felix, because obviously, like I said, Joe Felix is about 9 or 10 years younger than Griezmann. Obviously, he's got a lot of more development in him than Antoine Griezmann. But with the Antoine Griezmann situation, it came out the other week saying that we had been in contact with Antoine Griezmann over the potential move to Old Trafford, because obviously he came out, was it a week or two ago now, making an admission, Antoine Griezmann, saying that he is obviously, going to be leaving Atletico Madrid. Obviously, that is obviously, imminent. He is going to be leaving Atletico Madrid, and it was looking very, very likely that he was going to be, joining Barcelona. So I think he was actually, destined to join Barcelona. But recent reports have come out saying that Barcelona are stalling on a move for Griezmann, and it is now saying that Barcelona have got second thoughts on getting Antoine Griezmann. So now reportedly, Manchester United have come in and yeah, we have made initial contact with Antoine Griezmann. Griezmann, as you all know, is 28 years of age. Obviously, his release clause is around £170 million. It's around £170 million his release clause in his contract, of course. But obviously, at the beginning of July, his release clause does reduce to around 104 or 105 million pounds. So more or less, his figure is similar, to Joe Felix's, because Joe Felix is around 105. Obviously, in July, Antoine Griezmann is going to be around 104 and 105. But like I said, that 105, I'd rather, get it on Joe Felix than I would Antoine Griezmann. So Griezmann, obviously, was on the verge of joining Barcelona last summer, but obviously, he signed a new deal, with Atletico Madrid until 2023. Obviously, a couple of years ago, Manchester United nearly got Antoine Griezmann, but based on the Atletico Madrid's transfer ban, a deal, of course, never materialised. And Griezmann is still a very, very good player. He can score goals and that, and he can lead the lines, of course, but I don't think he's the Galactico player or the fundamental player as he was a couple of years ago, of course, because he is aging up a bit now. He's 28 years of age, as I said. So yeah, Griezmann is aging up. He has still got quite a bit of development in him, but maybe Griezmann wants to take his career to the next level, because obviously he's been obviously in Spain the whole of his career so far. He spent the entirety of his career in Spain. Obviously 5 of the years with Atletico Madrid, of course. I think he's scored 133 goals in 257 appearances in all competitions, and he hasn't really won out big in terms of silverware and all that. Antoine Griezmann, I think the only major honour he's won is obviously the Europa League, and I think that was actually last season he won that. Obviously he's a former Real Sociedad player, but yeah, reportedly now Barcelona have called their interest in Antoine Griezmann. So now reportedly Manchester United have come in for his services, but I don't see him coming to Manchester United. Maybe if Griezmann wants to come, that could maybe persuade Paul Pogba to remain at the club, because obviously they're both French and they both got a good relationship, Paul Pogba and Antoine Griezmann. So yeah, there has been talks about Griezmann going on. Like I said, other transfer rumours, give you an update on I think Manchester United, definitely need a right back, of course. We need a replacement for Antonio Valencia, because obviously we know that Antonio Valencia is leaving the club. I don't know where he's going to be going, but we know he's definitely leaving the club, obviously, after serving 10 years at Manchester United. Like I said, we need an upgrade to Ash Young, and we need a cover up for Diego Dalot, because obviously we do know that Diego Dalot is the upcoming future. So obviously there's been quite a few right backs on Manchester United's agenda. Obviously, Anwan Bissaka, there has been a lot of talks about him going on. I like Anwan Bissaka a lot, and I think he's got the ability to elevate Manchester United at least in the next 2 to 3 years. Anwan Bissaka, only very, very young. I think he's 21 years of age, and he would fit Manchester United's agenda, really, really well. Obviously, at some point in his career, he wanted to take his career to the next level on Wan-Bissaka, but obviously he's only very, very young anyway. Obviously, he's been in Crystal Palace's senior squad about, 14, 15 months now. He's got 3 years left on his contract with Crystal Palace. So he's predominantly a right-back. I think he's regarded as the best right-back in the Premier League. I think Tottenham and Manchester City have also inquired about his services, so he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Didn't it come out earlier this week, or was it last week, saying that Man United had submitted a bid of around £25 million for him? But obviously this figure is not going to be enough, is going to be enough to convince Crystal Palace to do business with a player. I think the quoted fee is around £60 or £70 million that Crystal Palace are demanding for Anwan Bissaka. But I do believe he would be a fantastic for Manchester United, and of course he is one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets. Obviously there has been talks of Meunier as well. I think Arsenal have inquired about Thomas Meunier's services. I like him. He's highly experienced. He's 27? Is he 27 or is he 28 years of age? Obviously he's been at PSG over 3 years now, of course, and obviously, Meunier, I don't think has ever played in the Premier League, but he's predominantly a right back. He can play in other positions, but he's predominantly a right back. Got goals in that, and an assist. So I think he'd be fantastic for Manchester United. I think he's only got about, is it 12 or 13, is it about 11 or 12 months left on his contract, Thomas Meunier, so he could actually be leaving PSG. And I think he's also, available for the reasonable figures. It come out a while back saying that, he could be available from anything between 25 or 38 million pounds. So I do really, really like Thomas Meunier. Mooney. So we've definitely not got to get a right back in. Like I said, another problem with Manchester United, we have let far too many players' contracts run down. Obviously, Rashford's in the final year of his deal. Obviously, Juan Mata's coming to an end of his contract. It's looking like that Juan Mata is going to be leaving the club because obviously, we failed to come to an agreement to get him a contract extension. So it looks like Juan Mata is going to be leaving Manchester United. Like I said, with the Hayes final year of his deal, it's looking likely he's also going to be leaving. It was a bad mistake for Manchester United, letting Ander Herrera go on a free transfer. That was bad indeed. And I think, this was bad judgment for Manchester United, giving the likes of Smalling and Phil Jones new long-term contracts. Because, Smalling and Jones have been both long-serving players at the club. Smalling's been here 9 years. Phil Jones has been here 8 years, of course. And, they're not good enough for Manchester United now. And, comparing them, I think, Smalling's a much, much better defender than Phil Jones. But, they're just too inconsistent, and this is why I did say we need to recommend 2 central defenders to come in. But I think now actually there's been a change of scenery because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I don't think that central defence area now is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's priority because I think Solskjaer's willing to, stick with the likes of Smalling, Jones and Bay and all that. So I think Solskjaer's actually focusing on other areas of the squad than that central defensive area. But we've got to get at least 1 central defender in this summer. And like I said, I think De Ligt, would be the right solution. And, I think we need someone else as well. We need someone else, definitely. But, Smalling and Jones are not good enough to represent Manchester United. Obviously, it's looking like Rojo and Darmian are on the way out of the club, which is very, very good news. I'm very, very happy about Rojo and Darmian, supposedly going. We could get around 25 or 30 million pounds for them. Obviously, Rojo's enjoyed a very, very difficult time at Manchester United, and I think he's become injury prone since he's come to United. He has sustained a lot of injuries as Rojo, and it's had a really, really bad effect on his Manchester United career. Same Darmian as well. He's been so inconsistent. And let's be honest with Matteo Darmian, he hasn't really had the chance. I think we've had him since 2015, so he's been here since the Louis van Gaal era. I think we just paid over £12 million in from Torino on that, and I think he actually grew up in Italy and all that. He had a lot of experience of playing in Italy when he was younger, so I think he'll probably favour a return to Italy, will Matteo Darmian. So we've definitely got to get rid of them. But like I said, there's a possibility now that Paul Pogba and Romelu Lukaku, could remain at Manchester United. Obviously, based on the huge transfer fees that we have put on them. And I think, this could be a stumbling block, in these transfer fees that we've put on them. This could be the stumbling block, for Lukaku making his move to Inter Milan and Pogba, making his move to Real Madrid. But we do know it's been looking likely, with recent reports especially, that Lukaku, it's been looking very, very imminent that Lukaku is set to leave Manchester United this summer, and he's set to make a move to Inter Milan because obviously, Inter Milan are the team that have been heavily linked to him. Obviously, they haven't come to an agreement on an initial fee. I think Manchester United, do actually want to get rid of Romelu Lukaku, but now reportedly we are demanding that we want around £80 million for Lukaku. So that's going to find it hard. That's going to be hard for us to sanction him off because this is a figure, of course, that Inter Milan are currently reluctant to meet. Initially at the beginning, I think it said, we wanted around £70 million for Romelu Lukaku. I think it did initially say that we wanted around £70 million for Lukaku at the first, and then I think it said we wanted around £62 million, but now it's saying we want £80 million. So basically, we are looking to recoup the majority. We're looking to recoup the majority of the money that we did pay for him from Everton a couple of years ago because he was actually 75 million. But obviously, there were bonuses. There was actually add-ons and bonuses included in the deal of around £15 million. So obviously that had initially risen it up to £90 million of the deal. But maybe Manchester United think he's worth around £80 million. Looking at his age, he's only 26 years of age. He's in his prime. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. But I think from Inter Milan's perspective, they initially rate him at around 55 million pounds. So Lukaku was talking a lot about Italy, a while back, about his dream of playing in the Serie A. So I think he's destined to make the move to Italy. There's no rush to basically sell him yet because he's still got 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United. Obviously, he's on about £250,000 a week he's on. But it did come out the other day saying that Inter Milan have agreed the personal terms for Romelu Lukaku. It also said they have agreed on a 5-year deal for Romelu Lukaku, worth around £37.5 million across 5 years and about £7.5 million per year. I think think with bonuses included. But obviously, I think it did say as well that Lukaku is set to take a pay cut, to join Inter Milan. So I think initially everything has been agreed, but the initial fee, and I think the fee is going to be the stumbling block in Lukaku making his move to Inter Milan. I think the only chances Inter Milan have got of getting Lukaku is if they are willing to offload one of their players as part of the deal. So basically, if they are willing to offload one of their players as part of the deal, let me just go get something. I'll be back down in a minute.
Unconscious on the floor. Well, you passed out too. Why did you pass out? I hate Niclos. What have I done to my head? You must have hit it when you fell. Oh, I told you. You didn't listen. Now look at me. I have a cup to win tomorrow.
You should stay at home.
You're not fit to touch. You are a liability.
Just go home and get some.
No. The way you treated me is disgraceful.
Hi guys, I am back now. Sorry, I was just going upstairs, to come here and get something. So yeah, as I was saying about Romelu Lukaku, so yeah, he could possibly now stay at Manchester United, based on his huge current transfer fee. So potentially, yeah, obviously Antonio Conte has been appointed as Inter Milan's new manager. Obviously, Lucius Belter currently got sacked yesterday, and obviously, Antonio Conte has identified, Romelu Lukaku as his number one target. So it did say that Inter Milan, willing to offer like £30 million, plus Perisic as part of the deal. I think this came out about 3 or 4 days ago. But obviously, Manchester United are not going to go along with this because obviously Ivan Perisic is no longer a Manchester United target. Obviously, he was a long-term target under Jose Mourinho, but obviously he's no longer a Manchester United target now. I think Icardi has been spoken about, and I would take Icardi as part of the deal, with Romelu Lukaku, because I like Icardi. He'd definitely, bring goals to Manchester United. would he be able to, replicate, if Icardi, was to come to the Premier League, would he be able to replicate, what he's been doing in Italy, in his number of years in Italy, with Inter Milan, because I think he's been Inter Milan about 6 seasons now as Mario Icardi, but I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is keen on him, so potentially, that's not going to happen. I think, if we're willing to let Lukaku go as part of any swap deal, we are demanding Inter Milan's Milan Skriniar as part of the deal. So if we're willing to let him go as part of the swap deal, I think we are demanding Inter Milan's Milan Skriniar. Obviously, he's been a long-term target for Manchester United. Whether Inter Milan are willing to go along with this or not, I do not know. So it is actually possible now that Lukaku, could remain at the football club. Same with Paul Pogba, and I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing everything, to keep Paul Pogba at Manchester United, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think, knows how much of an imperative player, that Paul Pogba is. Even though he hasn't really exceeded expectation levels at Manchester United, he hasn't really been the fundamental player as we all thought he would have been. But he's still potentially, arguably one of the best midfielders in the world, when he's definitely playing in the right vein, and when he's playing in the right manner, and when he's playing a monster good players. And maybe at Manchester United, he isn't playing a monster good enough players. So maybe this is the main factor reason why he does currently want to make the move to Real Madrid. Maybe another reason is because he wants to be in Champions League football, wants to be winning trophies, and wants to be competing as well. And obviously, Manchester United cannot obviously not offer Paul Pogba this. But like I said, based on the transfer fee, put on Paul Pogba, this could keep Paul Pogba at Manchester United. As I said, the transfer fee could be the stumbling block of him making his move to Real Madrid. So initially it did say that, it come out from a lot of reports in Spain saying that, Paul Pogba to Real Madrid is practically done. Obviously it did say an initial fee, he still was basically, still being negotiated. I think it was an initial fee from between 137 and 150 million pounds, because initially Man United don't want to sell him, but if we have to, I think we're demanding that one in the region of around 140 or 150 million pounds for Paul Pogba. So he did initially say anyway that Paul Pogba has agreed a massive pay cut, to make his move to Real Madrid. Obviously his salary a year is obviously around 13 million, but he did say he was willing to take a pay cut. So I think it did say his wages are set to drop by around 3 million a year. So he's set to reduce from 13 million to 10 million a year his current salary in order to make his move to Real Madrid. So we do know he's one of Zinedine Zidane's, of course, main targets. Zinedine Zidane wants to get a deal over the line for him. Obviously, Paul Pogba wants to leave Manchester United, of course, because recent reports did also say as well that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Paul Pogba's relationship is slowly fading, because obviously when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer managed Manchester United reserve team, he watched some of this team this day and age grow and develop, and of course one of them was Paul Pogba, and they've had a good relationship, but I think most recently he said it's slowly fading. Paul Pogba's still got 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United. It came out the other week saying that we're willing to offer him the captaincy in a bid to convince him to stay at Manchester United. Now it does say we're willing to offer him the vice captaincy role, because obviously the captaincy at Manchester United next season is going to be given to Ashley Young. But let's be honest, Ashley Young shouldn't even be here next season, but he is going to be here next season. What leadership has Ashley Young shown? What leadership of course has Paul Pogba shown? So maybe some Manchester United fans will want to see Paul Pogba leave. I think if we do sell him, we can get maybe around 130, maybe 135 million pounds for him. But I think with that, we could potentially get at least 2 players, maybe even 3 players. It's going to be hard for us to find a player of Paul Pogba's level and calibre, but I still say we can get 3 players of what we are cashing for Paul Pogba. But he could now remain at the football club anywhere, based on the huge transfer fees. Obviously, going back, was it 5 or 6 weeks ago, Paul Pogba said, identified at some point in his career that he does currently want to play for Real Madrid. So potentially did have 4 good years in Juventus, did Paul Pogba, but he hasn't really replicated the form at Manchester United. Obviously, Paul Pogba last year was heavily linked to a move away from the club, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. Obviously, last year he was linked to his former club Juventus. He was also linked with a move to Barcelona. And obviously, Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes when Jose Mourinho got sacked from the club. And obviously, since Paul Pogba returned to Manchester United in 2016, we paid 89 million for him. He has won the Europa League and League Cup with us. Obviously, that came in Jose Mourinho's first season. But it's still been reports saying that Juventus are interested in re-signing him. He did say, they're willing to sacrifice 2 of their players as part of the deal. But so he's either going to stay with Manchester United, or he's going to make the move to Real Madrid, because obviously that's his preferred destination. That's obviously going to be likely. That's his likely destination, of course. So so possibly now Pogba and Lukaku, could be staying at Manchester United. Like I said, probably looking like Sanchez is going to be leaving, which is very, very good news. Obviously, giving you the latest news on that. And I think also, Manchester United, do need a centre defensive midfielder without a shadow of a doubt, because I think Scott McTominay is too inexperienced at the moment, even though he did demonstrate towards the back end of last season, that he can play well and all that, and he was playing between the lines well, but I just think he's too inexperienced at the moment. Fellaini left back in January. Obviously as well, Matic we've got him, but he's too inconsistent, plus he's aging up, is Nemanja Matic, and he's too slow, is Nemanja Matic. I know he's well probably proven, but he's just not reliable enough, so I think we need a holding midfielder that's fast and tenacious, and there's been quite a few on Manchester United's agenda. We do know there was talks about Thomas Partey going on. Atletico Madrid's got a release clause of £43 million in his contract with Atletico Madrid. It does say Manchester United and Arsenal have inquired about his services, so he's obviously been spoken about. Don't really know much about the player. I think he's around 25 years of age, but he is available for a reasonable figure. As I said, Idrissa Gueye, he's been on Manchester United's agenda for quite some time now. He's obviously not a defensive midfielder, obviously 29 years of age. It came out in the press saying that the quoted fee is around £35 million that Everton would want for Idrissa Gueye. Looking at it, ultimately Everton don't want to sell him, but I think Everton have come to accept the fact that obviously that Idrissa Gueye does want to leave Everton, but he has done really, really well for Everton. You can't argue with his stats, statistically very, very good. Obviously he's completed the most tackles across Europe. I think he's one of the most successful tackles in the Premier League as Idrissa Gueye. I think he's been at Everton over 3 years now, and he's done really, really well. He's still got 3 years left on his contract with Everton, but Manchester United have inquired about his services. Comparing Idrissa Gueye and Herrera, obviously they are both the same age, but you can say Ander Herrera has had better of the career than Idrissa Gueye, so would you recommend him in at Manchester United, of course, but I think he's done very, very well with Everton. But so basically Everton are demanding just over 5 times more than what they initially paid for him from Villa, because I think Everton just paid over £7 million to him from Aston Villa back in 2016. He only served there 1 season with Aston Villa. I think when he was a lot younger, he was at Lille, was Idrissa Gueye, so obviously he's been mentioned. Obviously, we do know before that West Ham's Declan Rice has been mentioned, and I'd love Declan Rice, to come to Manchester United. I think he'd be a great signing for us. British, and Solskjaer's emphasised an interest in quite a few British players, but he's only 20 years of age. He has still got a hell of a lot of development in him, but I think he's exceeded expectation levels at West Ham really, really well. He's well Premier League proven, as I said. He's initially learned his trade in the Premier League. Did Declan Rice, and I think he was fantastic throughout the course of last season. Under Manuel Pellegrini, and he's under contract with West Ham until 2024. But I do really, really like him. He's primarily a defensive midfielder, and he can also, play as a centre-back, but I think he mainly plays as a holding midfielder. There's Declan Rice, but he's quick, he's energetic, he presses opponents really, really well. And I watched him for West Ham, last season, quite a few times, and he was really, really good. I think he did say before he could be available for around £50 million, could Declan Rice. So obviously, he's been on Manchester United's agenda as well. So yeah, quite a few defensive midfielders on Man United's agenda. So we're linked with a lot of midfielders in general. We do know Yuri Tillemans has obviously been spoken about from Leicester. Quite a few teams have been in for him. But yeah, lots to sort out this summer. We do need a massive overhaul this summer, as you all know. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recommend a number of young players to come into the club. Obviously, we've got to get a director of footballing. That's very essential. Obviously, we want to get that appointed before the start of next season, get a director of footballing. And that's a structural change that we do need at the club, is getting a director of footballing. But like I said, there has been quite a few candidate names mentioned. But yeah.
I told you before, it's likely plain.
What about me, Graham? He's got a lot of false talk.
But yeah, that's the structural changes, getting a director of footballing. So yeah, very, very essential indeed. But the main part of this video is was to give you a bit more of an update about Niclos, Pepe, and obviously all the other news that's been going on in the media today. So yeah, it does say, according to Duncan Castles, Man United and Liverpool are in for Niclos Pepe. Also, other teams have inquired about him. Obviously, Liverpool have opened up negotiations. With Lille to try and sign him. Also, Manchester United have been in talks to try and get the capture of the player. But I'd love him to come to Manchester United. Niclos Pepe, very, very good player indeed. Fast on the ball, he's good on and off the ball. He's quick, he can score goals, he can provide, and I think he's the obvious candidate for that right wing. So I would love him at Manchester United indeed. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider a subscribe, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.